Now, because of where we like the time we live in, and because of society, gender roles have changed so much that we can choose in whatever we want. We can be whatever gender role we want. And the only difference is that whenever we choose to play the gender role associated with our sex, so like if I choose to play the male gender role, I have a lot more options because gender roles are attracted to the opposing gender role. So if I play the male role, I'm attracted to the female role, right? And if I play the female role, I'm attracted to the male role. So, and a lot of men actually play the female role because they don't realize that women actually want men to play the male role. So it's like a huge confusion. And I think a lot of it happened whenever there was a movement for women's equality, and a lot of guys were threatened by that movement and thought that it meant that women wanted to be the same instead of equal, which is totally not what they wanted. They want to be equal yet different, right? And so there was this huge fear in a lot of guys' eyes that they couldn't fulfill their gender role. So there's this huge movement, a few movements that were kind of like a pendulum, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for men and women. And what's happening now is it's starting to slow down a little bit, and women are starting to scream back to say, hey, look, I want you to be more of a man. Like, I want you to play this male gender role. So typically, like I said, there are relatively few men who actually want to be nurturers, and there are relatively few women that actually want to be provider protectors. So, and when I say that, I want to clear up what that means. Provider protector used to be that you're like big and strong, and that's what made you provider protector, and you could hunt well. But now it's not like that anymore. Now it's like, I mean, you can be big and strong, but I can be more valuable than you because of our social rules now. It's not about the strongest surviving at all. The strongest don't survive. The socially strongest survive now. So now provider protector means that you can socially provide and socially protect. Really, really, really important concept. And for women, it's not about raising babies anymore. It's about being emotionally nurturing. So empathy for a woman. So this is her gender role. So there are weaknesses and strengths to each gender role. You know, for the male gender role, the strength is we don't get roughed up by emotion so much. We kind of have this emotional detachment to things. But the weakness is that we can't build rapport very easily, typically. You know, we have this fear of failing at being open and being vulnerable, then being attacked. And then women, typically, their strength is that they can connect with anybody whenever they want. Like, they can walk in and they just feel, and they can feel what someone else is feeling. But the weakness is that they feel everything that everyone else feels all the time. So whenever you ask a woman as a man, if you ask a woman to calm down or stop feeling in any way, you're asking her to be less of a woman. And that's why you can never speak to a woman and tell her to be less emotional. Like, that does not work. Because then she'll start to play the provider protector role. And if she does, she won't be happy. You know, and I see a lot of marriages and a lot of relationships fall to pieces because the provider protector role and the nurturing role gets switched accidentally because someone gets insecure in the relationship. And whenever they switch, both parties start to resent the other. So, and then there's this huge hatred. It's like, you know, the woman doesn't feel like a woman, the man doesn't feel like a man, and then they start to blame each other for everything, and then that's the end of the relationship for the most part.